So 2025 is coming to an end, and I want to share my biggest takeaways from spending millions of dollars on meta ads, as well as creating multiple thousands of ads this year. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. The first one is the power of incrementality. We saw this vividly in an ad account that we scaled, a client from us. I'll show the results later on as well. That was losing 300K over the course of a year, never been profitable. We came in and we implemented 3 campaigns: a testing campaign, a retargeting campaign, and a winning ads campaign. And that showed me the power of incrementality, certainly after the Meta-Andromeda update. And so for the people who don't know what incrementality means, basically you define it as like, it refers to measuring the true additional value your ads generate by determining how many conversions would not have happened without the ad campaign. Right? So as you can see here, there's like a circle of users who would have converted without the ad, and then incremental results, people who converted from the ad. And so to explain it just in simple terms, it's the same as you have a lemonade stand and you sell to 10 people every single day, but the next day you put up a sign of like the best lemonade ever for only $1 and 10 extra people come. Then you basically have to ask yourself, did those 10 extra people come from the ad, or would they have bought anyway? And so we see it in our ad accounts that incrementality is playing a huge part right now, because everything is feeding in each other. So a creative testing campaign can be feeding into a retargeting campaign can feed again into a winning campaign. So it's crazy to see. So that's why I'm always saying, like, don't be afraid to use retargeting, right? A lot of brands, they don't want to use retargeting, but retargeting is super important because it's still a psychological thing that people need to have at least 7 touch points before they basically convert. So to give you the example, as you can see, they spent around like 400K on ads alone. So they were losing around like $1 million with stock included. And so when we came in, we basically launched 3 campaigns: creative testing campaign, a scaling campaign, and a retargeting campaign. And here you can see it beautifully that the creative testing campaign is basically feeding the other campaigns as well, because the ROASs are pretty strong. And so that's, I think, in the first one of us taking over. And then you see it 7 days later, everything goes up way harder. The spend didn't really change a lot, as you can see. We just saw that incrementality started to play because the creative campaign started feeding the retargeting, as you can see, the 3.3, as well as the winning ads, because the winning ads from the creative campaign, we basically graduate them into the winning ads campaign only, right? So that's super cool to see how that plays into ad accounts. So if you run a company, or just if you sell a product where not a lot of people will buy from the first go, I 100% recommend you to start using retargeting campaigns. For this client specifically, we start using Marpipe, which is catalog ads, but it basically generates ads from your catalog, which is super interesting to see. And that worked out super good. So highly recommend using it. We're not affiliated with them, but use it. The second one is the power of avatars and sub-avatars, right? If you've been in any marketing course, or if you've gone to uni, or like have a standard education, right? How they always explain avatars is like, oh, it's a demographic, right? It's a female who is 35, she goes to work every single day, she likes to go to coffee, she does the X, Y, and Z, like the typical things, right? The primary goals, what do they value above else, like how do they stay informed, where do they hang out? Those things don't work. Never, right? Because a demographic doesn't help you create better ads, right? A 25-year-old or 27-year-old dude like me, who's tall, has back issues and has the desire to fix those back issues, but a pregnant woman who also has back issues because she's carrying a baby, right, can have the same desire. And so demographics, you can have different demographics, but same desires. And so that's where the power of avatars and sub-avatars come in, right? It's basically like building blocks. And so these are the things that you have to look out for, right? So the 4 ones, the desires, experiences, emotions, and behaviors, are the most important ones. The demographic ones at the top, they're not at the top because it's the most important one. It's basically the amount of research and effort you should put into it. The demographics is basically to filter out people. So for example, if you sell knee braces, the same desires, the experiences, you basically do research around those things. So for example, a knee brace can be used by elderly women who walk a lot with their dogs, right? So the desire is to walk or stay more active. They've tried X amount of things. They've tried to go to therapy, tried pills. They're super frustrated, right? And that's why they're not able to walk their dog. And then you use demographics because it's a grandma. But a knee brace can also be used for power lifters. And their desire is that they want to lift more, right? So that already separates them. And by having demographics at the top, you basically filter, like add an additional filter, right? So that's super important. That's the thing that we saw as well in just creating ads, more winning ads, is that if you focus on desires and then you stack them with the experiences, with the emotions, everything from your ad becomes more relatable. And that's the biggest thing, because people buy from people that they trust. And by building relatability, you are in turn also becoming more trustworthy, right? So I basically visualize this as like have different type of building blocks, right? Have a sheet with for every single client of all the different desires, all the different experiences that they had, all their different emotions, their behaviors, and then you can basically plug and play into those, or just like use them and plug and play them to basically create a sub avatar, right? Or just an avatar in general. Avatars and sub-avatars in general, they will also give you the angles that you need to go after and the desires that you need to go after when advertising. Then the third thing is basically AI in ads. AI in the beginning of the year, I said it last year as well, AI, we're gonna be seeing more AI stuff inside of ads. But this year, the evolution has just ramped up dramatically. You have Higgsfield who came into the field, who were creating realistic images like these ones. You're not even able to tell that she's AI, right? It's mad. You have VO3. VO3 is probably going to be updated pretty soon as well. You have Sora 2, which creates crazy looking videos just like this one.
I love my bonnet so much now that instead of taking my bra off as soon as I walk in the door like many women, I put my bonnet on as soon as I can.
You don't see that it's AI even. So that's a crazy part, right? So that woman doesn't exist, her voice doesn't exist, nothing exists, it's all AI, right? And we're even using fully AI generated videos like this.
If you've dyed your hair and it seems like it never gets longer, it's not because it's not growing. It's because no one told you this about dyeing your hair. You ever wake up, run your fingers through your dyed hair, and immediately...
And so that's what I'm saying. Like in the past, we were able to use AI for image ads, like these type of things that we've helped clients with as well. But now you're going to be able to create AI videos. And at the moment, it's only 12 seconds. There's a couple of tools out there that can do up to 30 seconds. But I'm telling you, I would say beginning of next year, you're able to create a full ad with an AI avatar that is completely congruent, right? The character consistency will be there, the voices, the layouts, everything. So start using those things as well, because it's super important. Then funneling into that is like creative diversity, right? After the Meta-Andromeda update, creative diversity is more and more important. So testing different headlines doesn't work anymore. Using the same image with different headlines or the same headline with different images doesn't necessarily work anymore, right? This is literally from Meta itself, that you can see it here as well, like similar creatives, right? They're basically not working anymore because Facebook is categorizing them as the same ad. So you need to have more and different styles of ads, right? So you need to have static ads, you need to have us versus thems, statistic ads, feature point outs, UGC, and that all plays into the 5 stages of awareness as well. Because in the past, you could have shouted like, hey, here's my product, buy it, or you could have gone to the product aware stages, but you have to also look at the research, right? So that's where the whole creative diversity AI avatars all come into play, because you have to touch up all those stages of awareness. And so that's what we saw with the client as well that I showed you, is that if you use different ads, not only saying like, here's our offer, 50% off of our t-shirts, you have to also talk to them in different stages of awareness, from do you feel uncomfortable, are you looking for different t-shirts, etc., because you're all playing into it. And that's also where the incrementality comes into play, because it all feeds into each other. So that is super important to look at those things as well, that you start creating ads that not only focus on the most aware and product aware, but also the solution and problem aware. And then that also funnels into the customer journey congruency. What I mean by congruency is that if you run a problem aware ad, that it also needs to go to a problem aware page or solution aware page, because your ad purpose is to basically have a click, and then your landing page is basically the sell, right? And so with problem aware ads, a lot of times, the way I like to compare it is that if you're going out on a date, right? You're not asking the person on the first date to marry you. That's basically what it does if you run a problem aware ad to a product page, because it's basically like, hey, here's a problem, buy my product, right? What will happen more and more now is the funnel congruency. And so that means that if you have a problem aware ad or solution aware ad, that you basically funnel them through towards a landing page, a pre-lander, a listicle, an advertorial that basically warms them up, shows them more about the product, and then that one leads to the product page. I see big brands doing it all the time, like Silky, Blizzy, etc. They're all running ads towards these listicles because it's just super important. And so funnel congruency or customer journey congruency is literally that everything looks the same. It feels the same, that the message throughout the ads are the same. And so what that also means is that even with the same product, that you're starting to use different avatars. So you have to start duplicating your product that matches those desires, those problems. Again, with the need basis, you don't want to have a grandma in the ad. The grandma clicks and they come up to a product page with a weightlifter, right? So you can have the same product with the different desires and different avatars. And so you have to create your product pages exactly like that. And so that's literally what I mean by the customer journey congruency. And we see it as well. Like, it is crazy how important it is becoming, just because Meta likes it way more. Your CPMs will drop, your CAC will drop, everything will just be better for your business, right? And so just quick recap on our biggest takeaways. Incrementality comes into play, right? So making sure that you know why or who's converting via your ads, which is also tracking. Don't be afraid to use retargeting. Focus on your sub avatars and your avatars, not on demographics, but like the desires, experience, emotions, and behaviors. Start using AI in ads because that will help you with creative diversity, as well as funnel congruency, as well as incrementality, right? And then at the last step is obviously make sure that the messaging from your ad aligns with the messaging from your landing page. And so without further ado, these were our biggest takeaways that we learned just throughout the year. Some might seem basic, but always we see the most important. And so these are the things that we learned throughout 2025, or basically got better at, because that's also important. You don't know everything, but also because of the platform changing, meta changing constantly, it is important to do recaps to see what you've learned and to implement those things. So without further ado, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want us to help you scale your e-com brand, then click the first link down below, schedule a call with me, and I'll see you there.